All righty. So I like to say that yoga is for everybody, but not all the yoga poses are appropriate for everybody. And there's ways for our bodies to do or experience every yoga pose, honestly. I've had my mind expanded on that since one of my teachers is Matthew Sanford, who's a paraplegic, and he teaches headstand because he teaches it about the principles of the poses. So when we do our practice, we'll be exploring different versions of poses that, we may be able to access some of the sensations a little better or a little more safely if we have low bone density, like forward folds and pigeon and things like that. We'll be doing variations of those that are a little bit more accessible to our body. So we still get the benefits of the shape. And as you all know, if you've been coming here for a while, it's like about where your mind is right now. Can you feel your whole body? Are you absorbing the shape of the pose in a more holistic way? And then that's going to keep you safe as well, because you start to develop this interoception of what's the feeling sense of the body. Where are you in space? And does this feel good for your body or not? And there's particulars and details that, of course, we are trying to tease out about the mechanics over time. So that's why you can unmute and ask questions, or if you're watching the recording later, you can email me or make a comment or something and ask me, and I'm happy to give you more detail if it doesn't sort of make sense what I'm saying at any point. All righty, so let's start in a standing position today. I like to start in standing position in just a simple mountain pose for a moment, just to stand in mountain pose, standing tall. And I see, even as we all do this, we come to a standing position and we're all kind of wiggly, or, we all want to sort of settle in. But let's even start with our own little wiggles, like shift from weight to weight, from foot to foot, shift over. Kind of noticing, because one of the values of yoga for our bone health is that we are bearing weight and we are absorbing the shift of gravity into our body through our bones and through our joints. So we can stretch the tops of our ankles by turning our feet over and stretching the toes, turning other foot. Notice when you do things like that, maybe there's this sort of feeling of stretching, right? So the stretching can come from the skin, from the fascia that's interlaced throughout our whole body. And it takes some time for the body to absorb these sensations, this stretching. It sort of wakes up the communication system in the whole body. You can flex your feet, spread your toes, lengthen through the calf, a little drawing back of the toes up towards the knees, and just working through the calves up into the ankles, into the hips. Kind of do a little hula hoop. Notice what your range of motion is in the hips. What does it feel like? And again, if this doesn't feel right for you, you take the principle of just being aware of your body and the things that it can and cannot do right now, and you breathe deeply. This is just a big, elaborate breath exercise. That's what it is. Up into your spine, into your shoulders. Feel the connection from your spine to your shoulders, into your elbows. And you're working in a gentle way through the fingertips, moving the limbs and through space. So there's range of motion in the joint spaces themselves. And then as you move and propel your body and limbs through space, you're accessing the whole body in many ways, so that as you shift your weight and gravity, the whole body participates to keep you upright. can choose wherever you'd like to explore, swimming through space. Getting the rhythm through the body. Nice. And then drawing those movements back into the center line a little bit as you come to more of a still place, settling down into your, nice, settling down into your mountain pose as you feel fit. And your mountain pose, your feet could be hip distance apart, they could be together. You choose what feels the most balanced, the most structurally sound for your legs, your hips, your feet. And then actively feel the feet pressing down into the surface beneath you, making an imprint through the toes and the heels, rising up into the ankles, the knees, up into the hips. Have a sense of the pelvis, the sit bones drawing toward one another, pubic bone and tailbone drawing toward one another, the lower belly drawing in and up. Migrate the spine forward into your body. Collarbones are broad, ears are balanced over the shoulders, and there's weight and presence in the wrists and the fingers. And in this still mountain pose, this active still mountain pose, find that breath coming in and out of the nostrils. Maybe the gaze goes down your nose for a moment, so you have sort of a less attention outward and more attention inward. Feeling not only the sensation through your nostrils, but the sensation of the rib cage and the diaphragm as you work with the breath coming in and out of the body. Connecting with the space around you just from that breath. Exchanging with the space around you. And then next inhale, you can raise your gaze, be aware of your place in the room. And then inhale, reach the hands out and up, keep the feet rooted as you reach overhead. If the arms will allow, or forward, press the palms. And exhale, reach the hands down to the side, completing the exhale and the hands reach the side. Inhale, reaching out and up, press through the feet, raising the gaze, looking up. Exhaling out and down. One more time, inhale. Exhale. And then just pausing for a moment and just noticing sensations, awareness. On your next inhale, you'll raise up onto the balls of your feet, at the same time raising the hands overhead. So a couple of things going on. You can do 1 foot at a time if balancing on your toes is too much. Exhaling, reaching the heels down as the hands come back down by your side. So again, you can do 1 at a time by bending one knee and coming up onto the ball of the foot, or both at the same time. And go ahead at your own pace, connecting with your movement. You're doing 1 leg at a time, you're bending one knee and then the other, depending on the breath cycle that you're on. Nice, finding those 4 parts of the breath, the inhale and a pause, and the exhale and a pause. And complete the one you're on and do one more after that. And pausing in your mountain pose and spreading your toes, returning back to that depth of the feet, reaching through the surface beneath you and the height of your head, reaching up into the space above you. And next inhale, you're going to sink into chair pose and raise the hands forward or up. Pausing here, breathing here, reaching through the pinkies. And then inhale, straighten the legs, reach to the ceiling, and exhale, hands come back down by your side. And then do that with your breath as you inhale, sinking down, raising up. Exhale here. And then inhale, straighten. And exhale, hands come back down by your side. Again, inhale, sink into chair, raise the hands. Exhale here, sink through the tailbone. Inhale, straighten the legs. And exhale, hands come down. So 2 breaths each pose. Go ahead and do it at your own pace. Complete the one you're on and do one more after that. Noticing and pausing when you're done. Nice. And then we're going to come to a balancing position with our hands on our waist. It'll be a little different than tree pose. So if you would like to have a support next to you, go ahead and either shift or get something close to you. Nice. And so the hands are on the waist. You're going to shift your weight over to one leg, and then the other knee comes up. So I'm going to just say that way. I'm not going to say left or right because depending on where your support system is, and holding that other knee up. So for me, I have my left leg down, my right knee up, hugging it up. So we often will do this shape lying down on the floor, holding the knee up, pressing down, and just activate this foot that's floating in the air, either flexing the foot or pointing the toes. Just give it a few breaths as you feel the inner thighs squeezing to the center. Maybe as you stand here, you can raise the knee a little closer up to your chest. If you're holding on to the support system, maybe that hand drops away. Finding more breath, but holding only with one knee, or one hand rather, on that knee if possible. Breathing here. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, remove the hand from the knee and straighten the leg out as best you can, reaching through the tops of the ankle. So you're pointing the top of the ankle, pointing the toes, so you're lengthening the top of the ankle. Take one more inhale here, and then exhale, slowly lower the foot down to the floor. Nice. And we'll switch over to the other side. So either shift or move the support. Shift your weight over to the other leg. Find the mountain pose in that one leg. The other knee comes straight up the center line. Hugging with the one hand. Press down and rise up. So thinking of the inner thighs of each leg squeezing to the center. The chest is lifted, so you're still in mountain pose position, either holding onto the support system or removing your hand, or the hand could even be at the waist, you choose. Sometimes it's a little bit more like a ballast if the hand is out to the side. Activate the floating toes, either pointing or flexing, whatever feels most active in that foot. So the foot's not just going along for the ride. Breathing here. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, remove the hand from the knee, bring it to your waist, straighten the leg out in front of you, pointing the toe, lengthening the front of the ankle, squeezing the inner thighs. Breathing. And then exhale, slowly lower it down to the floor. Nice. And we'll shift over to the other side again. So shift back to the first side, bending the knee and externally rotating. So we're coming into more of a tree now. So the foot could either be down below, maybe it could be up into the calf, or all the way up into the inner thigh. You're choosing how far your other foot is up. And then maybe the hand is on the support or the waist. Maybe it comes to the heart or above or down. You can choose the arms. Keeping the chest lifted, collarbones broad, the breath is deep, and the gaze is steady. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, hands back to the waist. Inhale, bringing the knee forward. Exhale, leg comes down. Nice. And then shifting over to the other side. So finding the mountain pose. Bend the knee forward, externally rotate the hip. Connect the foot somewhere, either at the ankle, the calf, or the inner thigh. So they are connected somewhere, somehow. Lifting the chest, hugging to the center line, all the way to the bones. So there is an activation of the muscles into the bones. You can start with the heel on the ankle, lifting the toes. Right. Nice. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, hands back to the waist. Inhale, knee comes forward. Exhale, foot comes down. Rock it out. Just worked a lot with those feet and the ankles. And come to a mountain pose for a moment just to notice. Remember, the pause is as important as the pose. So the body has a sense of what did we just do? So it absorbs that muscle memory, so to speak. We're going to separate the feet out as wide as your elbows. And bringing your hands out. And let's turn the right toes toward the right, left toes in. I'll mirror you. Right toes toward the right, left toes in. Legs are straight. Arms are up to a T for triangle pose. So what does it feel like in your knees, in your hips? Are you balanced? Do you need to separate them left to right a bit more? Feel for the sit bones drawing toward one another, pubic bone and tailbone drawing toward one another. And then we're going to take a big inhale here and exhale, hinging over that right hip, just tipping over, keeping the arms broad for a moment. So maybe not even making contact with that hand, just broadening out. So it's really strong through the legs. Palms can face the same direction as your chest. So a little variation on triangle pose, putting more emphasis into the hips, into the legs, the strength of the legs. You can even reach the hands overhead, perhaps, if the shoulders will allow. Notice the core comes engaged. And the next inhale, bringing the torso all the way back up. Arms come down by your side, and then pivot the feet to the other side for second side. So these standing poses are really rooted in the legs, obviously. We're standing up So we want to maybe emphasize that more than the hands coming down. So you're pressing the feet down and away, arms are up to a T. Take a big inhale here. Exhale, hinging over, maybe not quite as far as we have in the past. Arms are kind of broadening from the collarbones, like ta-da. Breathing here. Strong legs. Where are you recruiting? All the way from your toes into your ankles. Use those bigger muscles around the thighs, the glutes. Maybe reach the hands overhead, hold an imaginary block. Use the core. And then inhale, coming all the way back up straight. Exhale, hands come back down. Turn the toes toward the center and pausing here. And the hands to the waist is just an easier way so you can separate them out a little bit further. So about it underneath your hands, separate the feet a little further apart. Nice, and turning your right toes toward the right, left toes in, bending into that knee. And pushing the feet down and away, reach up through your fingertips. And then rolling the palms up so the shoulders roll back, keeping the shoulders rolled, and just move from the wrist to the elbows, or just flipping the palms essentially. So you still feel the shoulders roll back and then the palms are down, lifting up to the chest. Nice. Gazing over the right fingertips. So the cervical spine takes a bit of a twist from the rest of the spine. Pressing through the feet and stretching the mat away from you. Maybe sink a little deeper into the right knee if the knee isn't quite over the ankle yet. Take a big inhale here. And exhale, hinging over. Let's take the left hand to the waist and either the right hand on top of the knee or the forearm on top of the knee. Long spine. If it's comfortable, the left arm reaches at the same angle as your left leg for side angle pose. Notice what it feels like if you twist the wrist on your upper arm, if the arm is extended over. What does that feel like in the shoulder? If the hand is on the waist, don't worry about it. Just keep the shoulder, the ribs opening. With your arm overhead, sometimes we get a little crunchy in the neck and the shoulder. So rotating the wrist, you kind of get that spiral that we were just doing in Warrior Two, keeping the shoulder rolled back. And then pushing through the feet. Inhale, coming up through Warrior Two, straightening the right leg, turning the toes toward the center, pausing midway, pausing here. And then your exhale, you turn to the other side. So left toes over to the left, right toe slightly in, checking in with the knee, making it happy at the angle of that ankle, bending into your left knee. Arms are up to a T. Roll the shoulders back by flipping the palms. Keep the shoulders rolled as you just turn the wrists, palms down. Nice. And then turn your gaze over the left fingertips. Beautiful. Reaching through the pinkies, pressing through the feet. So you're pushing sort of stretching the mat beneath your feet. Take one more inhale here and exhale, hinging over. The right hand can wait on the waist as you choose how to manipulate that left hand, either hand on the thigh or forearm on the thigh. And then maybe the right arm swings at an angle. And again, noticing where that shoulder went. Did it go up near your ear? Can you keep it away from your ear by maybe rotating the wrist, spiraling the whole hand, rolling the left ribs up. If the arm is in the air, that's especially important. Even if your arm is in the air, you roll the right ribs up. Keep rooted through that back heel. Nice. And then pushing through the feet. Inhale, coming up through Warrior Two, straightening the leg. Feet come to center, pausing here for a moment. Breathing here. Nice. And then heel toe the feet together. Step towards the front of your mat, facing in the end of your mat. And then you'll let's step the left foot back. So you're just step back like a big deep step, and the back heel is down. So make that distance accessible for that back heel to be down. And then you'll bring your hands, your fingertips to the collarbones. We've been introducing this little Vinyasa Warrior One in the last few classes because I think it helps us with that kyphotic curve, right? So you're going to inhale and bend that right knee and lift the chest as the arms bend and bring the chest back, or the arms are back. And then exhale, straighten the leg, hands come back to your collarbones. Inhale, lean forward, chest comes forward, arms back. And exhale, straighten. Now, if the low back takes any brunt of it, you're going to literally lean forward. So you're not arching that low back too extensively, but you are bringing the hands back further than your elbows. That kind of is what manipulates the shoulder blades and coming back. So you're moving with your own breath, feeling what it feels like. The inhales are opening, the exhales are closing and straightening. Nice. Feel more like that. One last one. When you've completed that, one step forward into your mountain pose and pause for a moment and just notice. Maybe you feel a little more open in the shoulders. Maybe it's a little bit too strenuous and you can adjust for the next round with the second side. So stepping back with your right foot, finding that position. It feels grounded through both heels. Fingertips come up to the collarbones. And then I failed to say before, when you're bringing your hands out, I tend to flip them out like this, but really it probably feels a little better on the shoulders to have the hands facing you. Like, so when you come up here, you're just kind of moving them in like this versus this way, which is I tend to do that because I'm like, But so just keep that in mind. Make any adjustments so that your body can absorb this. So starting in your upward position, exhale, lifting. Or inhale, lifting the chest, opening up. Exhale, straightening. Inhale, bending and lifting up to the back of the heart. Exhale, straightening. Inhale, leaning forward, broaden the collarbones, lift the chest. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. Now, if the front knee is excessively going over your toes, you might want to separate your feet a little bit further so you have a little bit more room to make this movement without maybe putting strain on your knee. If you're not feeling it in your knee, then you're fine. But sometimes if you're bending into that front knee a little bit too far, it'll put a little stress on it. You listen for what feels right in your body. Nice. And then complete the one you're on. And when you're done with that, step forward to your mountain pose and pause in here. Nice. All right. So facing me for a moment, we're going to shift into one more balancing pose today where we're thinking again of like that. What we just did was like lift the chest, but we're going to hinge at the hips. We're coming into a warrior 3 position. And again, this might require a support system. Warrior 3. I'll wait till you come back. Okay. So we're going to come from a mountain pose, maybe facing something or doing it without a support or maybe a wall. And you're start with your hands at your waist. I like to have everything kind of connected and aware of what we're doing. Then shift your weight over to your left leg. Let's do left leg, taking the weight. And then bending the right knee and kick through the heel gently, not really kicking, but just reaching through the heel, lifting up through that inner thigh, lifting, keeping the chest lifted like we were just doing. Maybe the hands come forward. Maybe they come out to the side. Maybe the hands stay at the waist. And you're lifting up to that inner ankle, inner thigh. Breathing here. You could keep that right heel flexed or point the right toes. What feels more productive for you to be lifting all the way from the inner right thigh? You think of the inner thighs scissoring apart, one staying rooted and one is scissoring back. Take one more inhale here, and then exhale, slowly return back. So make that transition as slow and mindful as you got in. And exhale, come back to your mountain pose and pausing there. Nice. So you see how from that warrior one that we were doing, the chest lifting, even though we're hinging forward, which is the problem with a lot of forward folds as we start to collapse in the chest, we're still hinging, we're still lifting the chest as we hinge forward in this warrior three. Okay, so shifting over to your right leg, hands to the waist, bending the right or left knee rather, reach through the heel, keeping the chest lifted as you hinge forward. Keeping the broad collarbones, straightening the standing leg and reaching through the floating leg, lifting up to that left inner thigh. Nice. Choosing a hand position that works for you. Either supporting the forward fold or reaching behind you or forward. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, bend the standing knee slightly as you reverse course, bringing the torso up and back to your mountain pose. Nice. And just pausing there, noticing. Strengthening those legs, strengthening the spine, strengthening the arms. And let's make our way down to the floor by separating the feet out to hip the width of your mat. Toes out, heels slightly in. Inhale, swing the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees over the toes, cross the arms, push through the feet, inhaling up. Exhale down. One more time up. And exhale, hang out in your squat, wherever that might be. Maybe the thighs, maybe the forearms on the thighs, maybe elbows and knees. Adjusting your feet. Breathing here, lifting the chest. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, slowly make your way down to the floor, sitting down, extending the legs out in front of you. Nice. And then if you're feeling like the low back is rounding back, you roll the mat up to give yourself a little wedge or use a blanket to sit on top so that the pelvis has that vertical sense of it. You choose. Just have that little extra support. Keeping the right leg straight. I'll mirror you. Right leg is straight. Bend the left knee and stamp that foot down on the floor. Hugging it up with your elbow this time. So if we were standing up, we were holding on to the shin or the knee with our hand. Now, since we're kind of balanced, we can hug it up with our elbow. The right hand can be on the floor for a moment. So our body is at 90 degrees. When we were standing up, our body was all the way out, 180 degrees, right? And keeping that spine nice and long and tall, we're going to reach around and hug with our right elbow and bring the left hand just back so that we don't tip back, keeping the body connected to the inner thigh as you turn belly, then heart, then chin, taking a gentle twist through the spine. Keep rooted through that left foot and reaching through your right heel. The legs are still active. Spine is long. Your breath is deep. And then inhale, looking forward first. Exhale, untwisting second. And third, straighten out that left leg and pause. Just notice. Keeping the left leg straight, bending the right knee, stamp that foot down. Now the foot is not connected to the leg. Now if it brings close, then you're kind of more, it's more about balance when the foot is close, kind of separate it out as best you can and hug it up close, either with the hand or the elbow. So the spine stays nice and vertical and long. Reaching through that left heel as if you were standing on that left leg. Then with a nice long spine, taking your twist, either hugging or hooking the elbow around. Right hand is there just to keep you from falling backwards. So not to lean back. You're keeping the spine up as vertical as you can. So you're turning belly, then heart, then chin, gazing over your right shoulder. Keep the inner thighs engaged. Your left inner thigh is pressing down towards the floor. Your right inner thigh is drawing towards your belly. Breathing here. And then inhale, looking forward first. Exhale, untwisting second. And third, just straighten that leg out long. Nice. Okay, so we're going to bend both knees. Soles of the feet come together. Drawing the heels up close and letting the knees fall out. And this is one where you definitely will gauge whether you're leaning back or sitting up on your pelvis. Trying to get if you're leaning back, you can press your hands from behind and kind of give yourself a little support to come up on top of the pelvis more. If you're already on top of your pelvis, then the hands can maybe come towards your ankles or your feet and try to rock onto the fronts of your sit bones. Nice. And again, think of that chest, like when we're doing the warrior one and we're bringing our chest forward, we're bringing our chest forward here as well. Lifting up through the sternum, collarbones are broad. There's space between the ears and the shoulders. All these cues, all these landmarks are fairly similar in pretty much every pose. You can always root through those, finding awareness through the body. Nice. And taking a big inhale here. Exhale, release the hands and turn. You can straighten the legs and then roll down onto your back. We'll come down onto our backs. Nice. And then once you get down onto your back, your feet will be flat on the floor. Knees are bent, and kind of gauge whether your feet are underneath your knees or not. Trying to work that to feel stable on the feet as if you were in mountain pose, and make any adjustments to your shoulder blades and your hips so your spine is neutral. And then shifting the weight into your left foot. Take your right foot off of the floor and cross your right ankle across your left thigh. So it's like you're sitting with your right ankle across your left thigh. Now, your left foot could stay on the floor, and then take your right hand and press gently on your right leg away from you. So your left foot is on the floor, your right hand's on your right thigh, and you're pressing it away from you. Maybe you feel something in the hip. And that's one place to sense this. I'm going to give you a couple of options for this figure 4. Your left hand could just be balancing on your left thigh. So you have the hands sort of pressing that away. So that's a certain level of sensation. And then the other level of sensation is to take both hands around your left thigh and draw your left thigh towards your chest. So your left foot then comes off of the floor. Suddenly your right knee is coming toward you and you're actively drawing your right knee away from you. So there's a dynamic between pulling your left leg toward you and pushing your right knee away from you without using your hands, because both hands are behind your thigh. Now, this may be a sensation that's appropriate for your hip sockets. It may not be. I have a lot of students who this doesn't work very well. So this is a variation on pigeon pose, if you're familiar with that, where we would be putting our weight down onto our hips. This way we get to meter out that sensation in our hips and still get that stimulus through the hip socket, through the femoral neck. So you're choosing which one you want. You have your left foot on the floor, physically pressing your right foot away, or right knee away, or holding your leg with both hands, drawing your left knee closer to you. All 10 toes are active, so you're spreading your toes or being just aware of your feet. Breathing here. Noticing sensation. And then taking one more inhale here. If you're holding onto your left thigh, you'll release your hands and let the left foot down to the floor. And then everyone's going to raise the right foot up to the ceiling. Arms can be alongside your body, and you'll slowly lower that right leg down to the floor. Straighten the leg. And then straighten the left leg out long and just pause there for a moment and notice right side and left side, front side, back side. Nice. And then bending both knees, you place your feet flat on the floor again. We're going to do both sides on both options on this side as well. And so you're bending that your left ankle over your right knee. So your left ankle comes over your right knee, keeping the right foot on the floor and just pressing that left thigh away and just noticing. Maybe this side feels right there, like this is the right variation of figure 4 for you. Maybe it doesn't do much or it doesn't feel good. And just kind of imprinting that information and then going to the other option where you bring your hands around the right thigh. Right foot comes off the floor. Drawing that leg closer to you and drawing the left knee away from you. So those are a couple of options. Go using the one that works rather well for you so you can have a sensation of this shape that's appropriate for your joints. You can be breathing smoothly, exploring everything from your toes to your fingers. Once we get into the mechanics of the thing, then we can explore what does it feel like if I flex my feet or point my toes, like little variations can cause different sensations or different awareness of your body in space. It's kind of like calling upon, if your foot has gone asleep and you need to shake it up or something, even though your foot's probably not asleep, but it's just like bringing awareness back to it. And then take a big inhale here. If you're holding your thigh, you're going to release your hands and let that right foot come down to the floor as you exhale. And then everyone's going to inhale, bring the left arm or left leg way up to the ceiling. And then exhale, slowly lower it down to the floor, straight leg. And straighten both legs out and pausing there. Nice. Nice. And then walking the feet over to the left side, so you're getting a little longer along the right side of your body. The arms could stay down alongside your body, or if raising them over your head feels okay, you walk the torso over to the left, so you're lengthening through the right side of your body. So you're in a bit of a C curve. Now, if the arms don't like it on over your head, you can have one arm or both arms down alongside your body. You're just lengthening through the left side of your, or sorry, the right side of your body with the legs over to the left and the arm and the torso over to the left. Nice. Feel it along the hip socket. And then inhaling, coming back to a center position, pausing with your torso in one long line. And then exhaling over to the other side. So walking the feet over to the right, torso kind of leans over to the right. And again, these movements of the spine has a range of motion of like 6 different variations. So this lateral lean is something that's a functional movement, but we can do it safely with the spine on the floor. And you're checking in, does this feel right for my spine? Did I go too far or not far enough? Like you check, what does the stretch along the side of the body feel like for you? And then inhaling, coming back to a straight neutral position for a moment. Releasing the arms down alongside your body, bending both knees, placing the feet flat on the floor, but wider than your hips, about as wide as your mat. We'll come to our windshield wipers here. Your exhale, the knees come over to one side and you gaze in the opposite direction. Then inhale, you bring the knees up, gaze to the ceiling, and exhale, let the knees fall over to the other side, gazing in the opposite direction from there. And so you're sliding back and forth with your breath. You're rocking on the back of the sacrum, the back of the skull, and the bottom, the heels of the feet, basically. Going back and forth with an inhale, a pause, an exhale, and a pause. Finding the rhythm of the movement. And the wider the feet are, the more space the hips are allowed to shift internally and externally in their sockets. Next time your knees are over to the left side, you pause there with your knees on the left. And push a little bit through that right heel. So you're internally rotating that right hip a bit more, if that feels okay. And then maybe your left ankle comes on top of your right thigh here for a little extra weight. But again, if that doesn't feel right, you don't need to do that. It's just an option. Turning your gaze to the ceiling, releasing into this shape. Breathing deeply, going back to that sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nostrils, back to the back of the throat, that ujjayi sound. Breathing and releasing. If your left ankle's on top of your right thigh, you'll exhale that foot down to the edge of the mat. The next inhale, everyone brings the knees up, and then exhale, let the knees fall over to the right-hand side, pushing a little bit through the left heel, and then maybe the right ankle comes on top of the left thigh. So it's like you're in figure 4, but off to the side. But if that doesn't feel right, if the extra weight presses too firmly down or just causes some discomfort, you can release that. It's not about fighting through the pain, it's noticing sensation and then discerning whether it's pain or sensation. That's the tricky part. So sometimes we have to go slowly and slightly, or maybe we've accidentally gone too far and then we learn. So you're paying attention, breathing. Sometimes our breath can be the telltale sign of, are we in the appropriate position for our body? Can we keep it smooth and deep? Or is it shallow or stilted? And if your right ankle on top of your left thigh, you'll release that down to the floor. Inhale, bringing the knees up. And exhale, straighten the legs out wide, wider than your mat. Arms go wide. So you're in 5-pointed star on the floor. Any adjustments to the shoulder blades, the hips. And releasing the full weight of your body into the surface beneath you. Being aware of the space all around you, even the spaces beneath you. If this feels like the right position for your Shavasana, you're welcome to stay right here in figure 4. Or not figure 4. Why? Your 5-pointed star. Or make any adjustments, getting anything you need to be comfortable, supported. For your final resting position, lying down on the floor. Getting anything you need to be comfortable. And then releasing all the efforts in your body. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Release your jaw, release your neck. Release down through your shoulders, the reach of your elbows, your wrists, and all your fingers. Let your breath float away as you release down your spine, through your hips, the reach of your knees, your ankles, and all your toes. And just take these last few moments of class in stillness, absorbing all the benefits of today's practice. And begin to deepen your breath. And spread your fingers and toes. Draw your legs together, arms overhead for a nice long stretch. And then bending one knee at a time, roll over to one side and pause there for a moment. Using your hands and your arms, gently make your way up to a seated position. And thank you so much for sharing your practice, your energy, and your breath. May your hearts be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be healthy and well nourished. And may you be happy. Namaste. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Mariah. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to stay on. I'll just turn the recording off now.